With all due respect, that's a bunch of malarkey. This is a bunch of stuff, deal.
What does that mean, a bunch of stuff?
Well, it means it's simply inaccurate.
It's Irish.
It's Irish. It is. We Irish call it malarkey.
Thanks for the translation.
No, we Irish call it malarkey.
You know what this is? Yeah, and I reserve this word for those rare instances when it's truly deserved. This is malarkey.
That's a bunch of malarkey.
Direct from the King Spring Studios in beautiful Smyrna, Georgia. This is a bunch of malarkey. Now, here's your host, the incredible Charlie McMahon.
And a very special thank you to legendary radio personality Scott Shannon for our new introduction. Now, it's hard to believe Scott Shannon saying my name. I grew up listening to Scott on Z100 back in the early 80s, and then he moved on to WPLJ in New York. He now hosts the #1 morning show in New York on CBS FM 101.1. And in case you're not in the New York market, he also hosts the nationally syndicated Scott Shannon Presents America's Greatest Hits across the country. Scott Shannon, he's honored at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's inducted into the National Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame, as well as the National Radio Hall of Fame. So thank you, Mr. Scott Shannon, for our new introduction here at A Bunch of Malarkey. And also a big thanks to Benji, who co-hosted with me a couple of weeks ago on our Rock and Roll Hall of Fame episode, for getting in touch with Scott and having him record that for us. So new introduction here on the show, but the same malarkey. We're not going anywhere with the malarkey. So thanks for tuning in into this, I guess you could say, mid-April edition of the show. My wife's birthday is today as I record, so a happy, happy birthday to her. We had a great weekend going out, doing all kinds of stuff, and hopefully she had fun, and had a nice dinner with friends last night, and I'll tell you, we went to dinner last night, and there was no, mutant stories. Normally I have some crazy dinner story to tell, but it was kind of mutant-free. So all we really had to worry about over the weekend were these threat of really bad tornadoes and storms, which we dodged another bullet here in the Atlanta metro area, but I know people in Texas and Mississippi and everything weren't so lucky. There was some damage and some deaths and stuff, so my heart goes out to those families out in Texas, Mississippi, and those areas. But it is pouring rain here in good old, beautiful, as Scott Shannon said, beautiful Smyrna, Georgia. Now, the only crazy thing that happened this week, folks, before we get into all the regular segments of the show, was I was getting more calls from that fast food chicken place. Now, I realized why I'm getting the calls. My phone number, my Google phone number, is the same exact 7-digit phone number as this fast food chicken restaurant. The area code's the only thing that's different. So the people that have telephones in the area code that match my Google Voice number are just dialing the number without the area code and connecting to me instead of this chicken place. So the other night I got 3 calls, customer complaints, in about 20 minutes. I guess it was, I'm going to say it was Thursday night, about 8 o'clock, and the phone started ringing. The first gentleman was upset that he only got, I don't know if it was 8 biscuits instead of 10 or 10 biscuits instead of 12. And I was really nice to the guy. I apologized, told him to come in and he would get free everything. So this poor restaurant, when all these people finally decide to show up for their free shit, it's going to be bedlam there. Another woman called and said the chicken was overcooked, the biscuits were hard, went on this long complaint about everything. And at that point, I was on the phone with my in-laws. My wife and I were on the phone with our in-laws, and I had put the phone on speaker. And on the previous call, he said, you need to fire these employees, as a joke. So when I had this woman on the phone complaining about the chicken and the biscuits, I said, hold on a minute, ma'am. And I started fake firing my entire staff. So this woman was on the phone gasping like she couldn't believe. I said, ma'am, you're the final complaint tonight. I've had nothing but complaints. I'm firing everybody. So I start yelling to an imaginary nobody that I'm firing everybody in the restaurant. And the woman is gasping on the phone. I said, all right, ma'am, the problem's taken care of. I fired everybody who overcooked your chicken and biscuits and everything. So she was kind of, I got to start taping these. I really do. I have to really get these on tape for you guys to, I was thinking of deleting the number and getting a new one, but I'm having too much fun with this. So these, I these stories are crazy. People complaining about not getting certain things, not getting side dishes. Now, speaking of side dishes, folks, have you read this bizarre story or heard about this bizarre story that's going on in Jackson, Mississippi? Residents of a neighborhood in Jackson, Mississippi are confused by the bowls of mashed potatoes they're finding on their cars, porches, and in their mailboxes. A resident named Jordan Lewis described the Bellhaven neighborhood as a quirky one, with residents decorating road signs and putting Christmas trees in potholes. So we don't know if someone is just playing a prank or if someone just had a lot of leftovers, Lewis said. But Sebastian Bernegard says some residents fear there's a more sinister message behind the potatoes. What could be sinister about mashed potatoes? Maybe if it was Devil's food cake or something showing up, but what's sinister about mashed potatoes? Some people were thinking maybe the mashed potatoes were poisoned to kill animals, he said. Noting that he almost stepped into a bowl of them on his way out of his house on Tuesday. He didn't taste it, he said. He has a 3-second rule, so he didn't touch it, but some people were worried. It's unclear if anyone has eaten the potatoes, and news outlets report residents haven't alerted law enforcement. Resident Michaela Lynn says some of the potato finders have connections to a local private Christian university, which may be a clue. Now, I'm wondering, are they leaving this in, like, disposable bowls? Or, like, aluminum pan, disposable? Or are they putting their good, they putting their good Corningware and their good bowls out? Because you're not getting that bowl back. You bring something to somebody's house, you never get your Tupperware back, you never get your bowl back. So these people are voluntarily giving away their bowls. I'm wondering if it's, like, a disposable bowl or if they're pretty light in their cabinets right now without their regular china in there. So that's a bizarre story, folks, from Jackson, Mississippi. So there's a couple more bizarre stories I want to tell you about before we get into our favorite segment. Now, folks, it's raining here today pretty heavily. We don't know if the Braves are going to play later against the Mets. I know there's some rain headed to New York, where my favorite team plays, the Yankees. They were cut short by rain the other night. So in the world of baseball, rain is a common occurrence. You deal with it. When the rain starts to fall, the guys come out with the tarp, they cover the field, they wait it out, they take the tarp off, they manicure the field, and you move on with your life. But a Connecticut baseball field is expected to be closed for several weeks now, folks, after it was doused with gasoline and set on fire and in an apparent attempt to dry off the field. Now, that's something I've never seen. I've never seen the Yankee Stadium grounds crew run out with gas cans and set the field on fire to dry it out. You use the tarp. You use that drying substance that you sprinkle down on the dirt, and it absorbs the water, and you rake it up. But this happened in Governor's Park in Ridgefield, Connecticut, last Saturday, ahead of a regularly scheduled Ridgefield High School game that had to be postponed. Town officials posted about the incident on Facebook, calling it a poor decision. You think so? A baseball game at Governor's Park was delayed due to weather conditions on the field this morning, the Post read. A poor decision was made and being looked into by the police department to dry the field quicker by using 24 gallons of gasoline and set on fire. 24 gallons of gas. We were warming up, starting third baseman Thomas Geoffrey said. A decision was made and it didn't go as planned, I guess. The hope was to dry up the field so we could play. The Ridgefield Fire Department, the Director of Public Works, the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, and the Certified Spill Response Team all responded to the scene. No one was injured in the fire, and there is no danger to the public. Now, folks, it's going to cost about $50,000 to excavate the infield, test the surface to bring it in clean, bring in clean, fresh soil. Taxpayers can only shake their heads. I mean, I have never even thought that gasoline could dry a baseball field, but this really happened in Connecticut, folks. But again, we've all watched baseball, and it's part of the game. You wait it out, you manicure the field afterwards. And when I played in Little League, sometimes there'd be a puddle by home plate. You just dealt with it. The ball landed in the puddle, you get splashed, you slide into home plate into a puddle. You deal with it, folks. You try to rake it out of there, but I've never thought of or seen anybody attempt to light a baseball field on fire. So what do you say, folks? Does that segue perfectly, or doesn't it, to our favorite segment?
Mutant of the Week.
Now, we've had back-to-back one-vote victories. And we had another one last week, folks. By one vote in a 53 to 47% victory, the Brawling Baconator, the gentleman who caused a big melee in an IHOP because he didn't get his bacon, beat the Axaholic, the guy who was pulled over for suspected drunk driving and tried to mask the odor of alcohol with Axe body spray. 53 to 47, the Brawling Baconator is our Mutant of the Week by one vote. So again, 2 weeks in a row, every vote counted. So thank you so much again for those core 20, 25 of you who come in and vote every week. Can't thank you enough. Now, we had another record week of listenership, 6,200 plus tuned in last week. And thanks to Amanda for a great job with our mispronounced words and phrases and corporate phrase lingo and all that stuff. People really enjoyed it. So 3 weeks in a row, we had some really cool co-host Benji and my father-in-law Paul. So this is the first week in a while I'm flying the ship solo, but we will try to make it fun nonetheless. So let's get right into this week's nominees. We have the Brawling Baconator as our champion, and he will hold the crown until next week when he's dethroned by one of these two. Our first mutant nominee comes from Tennessee. A Tennessee woman was arrested after Crossville police pulled her over driving in the slow lane on an electric scooter on Highway 127 that was taken from a nearby Walmart. 45-year-old Sally Selby admitted that she took the cart and explained that she was on her way to Waffle House to get a cup of coffee. Police reviewed the surveillance camera footage, which captured Selby entering the Walmart store at 4:15 a.m. and driving around in the electric scooter while she shopped. 25 minutes later, she left the store and drove around the parking lot before turning onto Highway 127. She was taken into custody and is facing one charge of theft of property from a building. The scooter was returned to Walmart. So our mutant number one, let's call her the coffee-craving klepto. So this woman decided she needed a cup of coffee, and she drove that Walmart scooter onto Highway 127 over to the Waffle House, or attempted to get there, and was pulled over. So the coffee-craving klepto is our first mutant out of Tennessee. We've had a lot of Southerners the last few weeks. But our second nominee comes from Pennsylvania. So all right, we'll get out of the South for a little bit. A Pennsylvania man was arrested after he choked a cashier at a Giant food store. That's the name of the supermarket chain, Giant, in Fairview Township. Bradley Bauer was in the checkout line when he had an issue with how Neil Lurch was bagging his groceries. When Bauer noticed Lurch was putting the potato chips in the same bag as his canned goods, he told him to stop because he was worried the cans would crush his bag of potato chips. After Bauer paid for his groceries, he started to walk away, but then turned around to ask Lurch, "Do you have a problem with me? 'Cause I got a problem with you." "Do you?" Lurch jokingly responded. That set Bauer off, and he rushed towards Lurch, calling him an idiot, and he choked him and slammed him up against the cash register. Lurch managed to push Bauer away while the grocery store's manager called police. Bauer told police he was having a bad day, and he lost his temper with Lurch. Bauer stated that he knew he was in the wrong, Fairview Township Officer Christopher Bickle wrote in his report. He said he was having a bad day, and that this issue with the chips just sent him over the edge. Lurch declined medical attention despite having red marks on his neck and difficulty speaking to Bickle. Bauer was charged with simple assault and is due in court next week to face the charge. So let's call him the Chippy Chokin' Chap, the gentleman who was pissed off about his potato chips being crushed by, or potentially crushed by, canned goods. Now, folks, that's a pet peeve of a lot of people. And we all have these daily annoyances. Now, what is a pet peeve, folks? What's the definition of a pet peeve? It's something that a person finds especially annoying, or a frequent subject of complaint, or a common annoyance. Now, we come across these every single day, folks. Now, I know, that's basically what this show is about, folks. It's just about complaints, about stuff we deal with in the public, at work, and I try to tie in stories from my life and my past, and I have guests on to tell theirs, but I want to put things in perspective first. I know there are a lot of negative, terrible things happening in the world at any given time. There's wars, illness, famine, tragedy, and, headlines that'll make you want to cry sometimes and bring a tear to your eye. But in our day-to-day lives, folks, there is also plenty of what we call, quote-unquote, tragedy at a lot less serious nature. And that's what this show is all about. It's about things that we have to deal with on a daily basis that are frustrating. Pet peeves is the, the topic of today's show. Now, I did some research, as I always do for these shows, and I found the 12 most common pet peeves out there, and then I'm going to tell you, and I got a long laundry list, folks. As you know, I'm neurotic with everything annoys me out there. That's why I like to just stay home, and it was tough for me this weekend on my wife's birthday weekend, going out to several places, so I really manned up and went out went out this past weekend. But let's give you the most common pet peeves that annoy the fuck out of people. The first one, believe it or not, I couldn't believe this was number one, was people chewing. More than any other pet peeve, this is the number one most common of them all. For whatever reason, our brains are just wired to loathe the sound of someone slapping food into their mouth, like a real obnoxious chewer or somebody chewing with their mouth open. That's the number one pet peeve. In different polls, I did the aggregate and everything. So chewing came up number one. So people just get annoyed by the sound of another person chewing. So I better watch how I eat at dinner tonight. Their second pet peeve is someone who's a fanatic. It's someone where all they talk about is the one thing that they love, like if they're a runner, or if they go to the gym a lot, or if they're on a special gluten diet or vegan diet. It's all they talk about, and they want to kind of rope you in. They become totally obsessed with it. It takes over their life, and you have to be on the receiving end. Like if they start vaping, all they talk about is vaping. Or whatever they're into at that particular moment, a different lifestyle choice when it comes to eating. Diet seemed to be the big pet peeve in a sub pet peeve and the main pet peeve. Excuse me. So if you're one of those people who, work out a lot at the gym or run, it's good to talk about, maybe motivate your friends. But if you obsessively talk about it, people start getting annoyed. So the fanatic behavior is number two. People who are chronically late is number three. People don't like people who are consistently late. I'm sure they let an occasional lateness go with their friends, but a big pet peeve, number three on our list, are people who are chronically late. People don't like dealing with chronically late people. Number four is when people eat your food, without your permission, whether they take something off your plate or they take something out of the refrigerator. Now, we've all been there, folks. We know there's that one piece of cake left over from last night, and you're driving home from work, and you can't wait to have that piece of cake. It's all that's on your mind all day, and you get home, and somebody in the house ate that piece of cake or that leftover Chinese food, or it happens to everybody. So that is number four on the list, eating food without permission. Number five happens on the roads. The number five biggest pet peeve of the public are people who don't use turn signals. Now, that's one of mine. How hard is it, folks? How hard is it just to say, I'm going left, I'm going right? Stick out your hand. Show me something. Show me something. So number five, the five most popular pet peeve is lack of use of turn signals. Number six is paying for shipping. I think people expect free shipping now, and people get annoyed, and they feel they're entitled to free shipping. Whether they're Amazon Prime members or not, they want free shipping. So paying for shipping is number six. Number seven is a person who constantly bashes everything you like or say ew when you're eating something they don't like. Like if you're eating a slice of pizza. Oh, do you know that's bad for you? They criticize everything you do, or they have something to say, or if they look at your plate and go, ew, what's that? So people don't like being bashed on every little thing they like or dislike, Constant cell phone distraction. That's number 8. People don't like to talk to people who are staring at their phone and not paying attention to them. Now, I hear that from time to time at home. Now, if my wife and I are having a serious conversation, if there's something going on, I'm going to stop. But if we're just sitting there watching TV and she's on her computer and I'm on my phone, I don't see anything wrong with me looking at the phone. But I guess people who want to have a conversation with someone, when it's time to have a conversation or interact, people, I don't sit with my phone at dinner time or when we go out with friends to restaurants, I don't pull out my phone. just when I'm lounging around the house watching TV, it's just a distraction for me. And I usually have to rewind when I'm watching a few times because I miss a lot of dialogue. So staring at your phone instead of paying attention to the conversation really annoys people. That's number 8. Number 9 is referring to yourself in the third person. Charlie loves podcasts. Did you know that? Yeah, I don't like that either. We have a president, unfortunately, that does that pretty often. But people don't like hearing someone refer to themselves in the third person. Number 10, people don't like the endless selfie person. That person that all they do is take selfies of themselves. You see it all over their Facebook page. They take more pictures in the toilet than the men on the moon did when they got there in 1969. People don't mind a selfie, but people don't like these endless selfies, constant selfies being posted on Instagram and Facebook. So if you're one of those people that take endless selfies, stop. You know, I was thinking about selfies when I put this together. And I looked at my Facebook, all my pictures on my Facebook page. There's like, and I've been on Facebook for 11, 12 years. I think I have like 6 selfies on the whole thing. I don't take selfies. I really don't. If someone wants to take a picture of me or friends or we're going someplace or my wife takes a picture of me, fine. But I don't sit there and take pictures of myself. I'll take pictures of stuff around me and mutants and things, crazy things I see in public, but I don't take pictures of myself. I don't know, especially in a bathroom. You ever see some of these pictures? There's like crap floating in the toilet. And some of these selfies, these girls in like their room, it's filthy. There's clothes all over the floor. There's like talk about mashed potato bowls. There's all food and shit on the floor and they have no shame. At least crop the picture, you know? That's what I told my wife. She took a picture of me yesterday. We were at this cider house, cidery, where they serve hard ciders here in Atlanta, and it's a fun little place. And she took a picture of me, and she wasn't going to put it on Facebook or anything. She was just sending it to my in-laws. And I was in a position where my shirt wasn't quite right and flush, and it looked like I had this giant gut, which right now, I'm not in the best shape, so I'm a little self-conscious. And I told you couldn't crop the picture out before you sent it. So I'm a big cropper of pictures. If I take pictures of something in the house, my dog, I make sure I crop stuff out or I make sure everything's neat. I'm not going to send a picture of like my underwear laying on the floor with the dog running. And look how cute he is. And there's my boxer briefs hanging. Not that I throw my underwear on the floor, folks, but crop the pictures, folks, if you're going to take selfies. So not to stray there. Number 10 was obsessive selfies. Number 11, something we all experience, slow internet. Don't you just want to smash your phone or the computer, or especially when you're watching a Netflix show or a streaming show and the internet slows down? I don't know what the hell goes on in this neighborhood, but we have a certain internet company, and it seems like when everybody comes home at a certain time of night when it hits its peak, it sucks all the bandwidth out, and some nights you're trying to watch a baseball game. Now, unfortunately, I like my New York team, so I have to stream through the app and everything, and it freezes up, and you just want to smash. So slow internet is number 11. And the final one, I did 12, is people who watch videos or listen to music in public spaces with no headphones. Now, on a train or anywhere, at a restaurant, or they just play the videos or play the music and they don't have headphones. How hard is it to the earbuds come with the phones, folks? How hard is it just to plug in a pair of headphones? Yeah, I know sometimes maybe you forget to put the jack all the way in, the little adapter all the way into the jack. Sometimes it happens. Then you realize, oh shit, hopefully you don't have anything bad playing like porn or something in public. That's a whole nother topic for another show. But sometimes you don't push it in all the way and you hear it and you're like, oh shit. But there are some people that just blatantly play video and music in public and don't care. So those are the 12 most popular. Now, I'm going to go over a little list of my own, and we'll see where you, and of course, we're going to put up a little posting. We want to hear your biggest pet peeves. What annoys the shit out of you on a daily basis? Well, you get up, you know this is going to happen, you deal with it almost every day, and these are some of mine. This happened to me the other day. I was around the supermarket around lunchtime, and it was crazy over there. There's a Publix over here on the main road, which at lunchtime it gets crazy. And I was trying to exit, and the traffic was backed up, and there was this woman coming, trying to get into traffic, and I let her in. I didn't have to do that. I usually don't, because you end up getting burned. You end up letting someone in, you get behind them, and then they go 20 miles an hour and at 50. You can't get rid of them. But I let her in, and I didn't get a thank you wave. Now, how hard is it just to put your hand up and acknowledge, like, thank you for letting me in? Woman looked, pulled right in front of me, and didn't give me a thank you wave. Now, that's a big pet peeve of mine. Give the thank you wave. Or if you do something stupid on the road and you put the sorry wave up, you put the hand up like, okay, it was my fault. I've done that. Sometimes I don't see somebody in my blind spot. I put the hand up, I'm sorry, my bad. I said my bad, and I hate saying that, but it's just a little etiquette on the road. That's a pet peeve of mine. You let somebody in, you deserve a thank you wave. Somebody lets you in, give them a little thank you wave. Now, something that happens here at the house, and it's only the two of us. We have 3 bathrooms, so it shouldn't happen because we have not only the toilet paper on the roll, but we have like little caddies in the bathroom with extra toilet paper in there. But I hate when there's like 2 squares of toilet paper left on the cardboard thing. Just replace it. What do you leave in 2 squares? Put the fresh roll on for the next guy. How many times I go in? I don't like, my obsession with bathrooms anyway, folks. I'll go in to do number 2, and I'll go to reach for the toilet paper, and it's empty. Now I got to reach into the caddy, unwrap the toilet paper, take the roll off, take the cardboard spool off, put the new one on. Meanwhile, all I want to do is wipe myself and carry on with my life. But anybody who leaves those 2 squares on there, come on, folks. Change the thing for the next guy. That's a real big pet peeve of mine. Same thing with leaving like a drop of something in a container in the refrigerator, like orange juice that wouldn't even fit in the cap of the orange juice. Like just is less than an ounce. You couldn't even get a sip out of it. It wouldn't even wet your lips, and they leave it in there. Like, what are you going to do with that? It's not going to, it won't even wet your lips. Just either finish it or throw it away. That bothers the hell out of me. How about this? If you're like a serious satellite radio subscriber, how many times I get into the car and a good song comes on and I'm singing along and I'm really enjoying myself, and then they do a subscription or channel update for 3 minutes, and then by the time it's over, the song is over. Now I know we live in a world, we're in an on-demand world where any song you want to hear, you go to your Alexa, you go to YouTube, you can listen to it anytime you want. But when you're really feeling a song and you're really into it, and you're being sedated by the Ramones, you got your fist in the air, you're driving to Rockaway Beach or wherever the hell, and they cut you off with this subscription update. That's really annoying. How about loud cell phone talkers in public? You're on a train, you're in a closed area, and these people got to scream or put it on speaker, and you know everything that's going on in their conversation. I don't get that. Talk quietly. Unfortunately, we're in a world, you're not going to get rid of cell phones. People are going to talk, but just show a little courtesy. I can't stand those loud cell phone talkers. What about slow walkers, folks? You're going down the aisle, and it's like one lane. You can't get past them. You're going down the aisle of a supermarket, or you're walking somewhere, and you can't get past this person, and they're walking they're like shuffling their feet rather than walking. Now, I know if it's a 90-year-old woman or man, we're all going to get there, folks, hopefully, God willing. We're all going to get old. I get it. You're disabled. I get it. But the regular able-bodied people that are walking around in their 20s and 30s that are shuffling because they're looking at the phone, or they're just slow walkers, noise the shit out of me. Or the people that stop, you're trying to get in the supermarket, you grab your cart, you want to go in, and people stop right at the doors to file through their coupons or go in their purse for something and just block the whole main thoroughfare into the store. That annoys the shit out of me too. So that's too in public walking, blocking. You want to look at your coupons, you want to do whatever, pull your cart over to a little aisle where there's nobody there, maybe, and do what you got to do. So that's a big pet peeve of mine. Now, I know it's not Festivus, folks. This is usually the airing of the grievances time is Festivus in December, but this is what this show is all about. So I thought I'd do a whole show on these pet peeves. What about you're in public, right? This could be anywhere, McDonald's. Not that I go to fast food restaurants, but anywhere, folks, that you can relate to. And there's that little bit of liquid down at the bottom of the drink, and these people have to suck the straw into the ice, and then there's nothing left. It's it's just a little bit of water at the bottom, and they're sucking on that like a brand new iced tea is going to fill up. Most of these places have free. Go get yourself a refill. Why you suck in the ice? You're not going to suck the ice through the straw. They're looking for any little liquid, and it's that slurping sound. You just want to go over and hit them over the head with that cup. So that's annoying to me. That's a pet peeve. Now, the obvious one, misbehaving or crying. Now, a baby cries in public on a plane or something. A baby's going to be a baby, folks. You can't help a baby crying. I do wonder sometimes if you know your baby's prone to crying all the time, why you would bring the baby to a restaurant, not wait for it to get he or she to get a little bit older. I understand you're a family, you want to bring your children out. I get it. I don't have children, but I get that. But these misbehaving children that get up from the table and run around the restaurant kicking chairs and getting into things, and the parents just sit there and eat and like nothing's happened. That annoys the shit. It's not even so much the kids. Kids are going to be kids, folks. It's the parents that sit there and let this shit happen. Big pet peeve of mine. Again, baby crying on a plane. Baby cries, the parent coddles the baby, goes to sleep. Fine, okay. But when there's a baby crying for 8 hours and screaming on a plane, that's a problem. You should really reassess whether your child can handle, a 5-hour, 6-hour, 8-hour flight. And take it from there. What about people who talk during a movie or a show you're trying to watch? Like they can't keep up with the plot. Oh, I thought he was with this guy. What just happened? I'm confused. I thought he... Oh, my God, that annoys me. Doesn't that annoy you, folks? You're really into the movie. You're following the plot, but you're with somebody, a friend, a significant other, that doesn't quite follow what's going on. And you have to pause and explain to them. Then you missed half the dialogue, and then you're losing out on what's going on, and you're getting lost. So any, over talk, where they're confused over the plot or anything during the show. Well, what about this? All these houses now, when we were younger, all these houses were compartmentalized. Your kitchen was in a separate room, your living room, your dining room. Now we have these open floor plans. Now they're nice for entertaining because when you have people over, people could sit and watch TV and be in the kitchen and the little dining area, and everybody's with everybody. It doesn't seem like you're in another room. But they also have their disadvantages. You're trying to watch something on TV and your wife decides she's making a smoothie in the blender. And now you missed the whole dialogue of the show. Turning on appliances when TV is on and shit like that annoys the hell out of me. You got to pause. Occasionally my wife will say, I'm going to turn the blender on. You might want to pause that, but it's still annoying. So maybe we were better off with these compartmentalized houses without all these open floor plans. I know it looks nice, but maybe going in your own little room was better. What about these people who sneeze or cough in public without covering their mouth? And I used to get this at the parking lot all the time. People would sneeze into their hand and then hand me the money or just sneeze out in the open because they thought they were outside. But people do this inside, too. First of all, you cover your mouth and don't sneeze into your hand unless you have, sanitizer with you. Sneeze into the sleeve of your shirt or if you have a handkerchief or a tissue or something. If you're going to sneeze, folks, definitely cover it up, but not into your hand. It's disgusting. So I used to see that all the time. Then they would hand me money. I don't want Ebola. Okay. What about close standers? That you're at an ATM. Now, you give someone comfortable space where they don't feel like you're sidling up on them and going to rob them. You give 10 feet, 6 feet, 10 feet, where you give them a personal space. And same with the checkout. You put your items on, you go through at the checkout. Now you have that little pad at the end where you're going to pay most people are paying with debit and credit. You need that personal space to do your transaction, but people come right up on you. They're like a foot away, like right on top of you. I hate those close standers. Yeah, give me some space. Got some heavy rain coming down now. What about when there's a million seats available at a movie or anywhere and people decide they're going to come and sit right next to you, or even parking? You park all the way down away because you don't want anybody denting your car. You park all the way down away from everybody, and some schmo decides he's going to park next to you. He's got a whole parking lot to choose from, or a whole auditorium, or a treadmill at the gym. There's 30 treadmills. You're one of two there on the treadmills, and they got to take a treadmill right next to you. Why? I don't like those people who have to it's too. And urinals the same way. You got 8 urinals. I'm the only guy pissing there. You got to stand next to me. Big pet peeve. What about people who extend meetings or phone calls? We talked about this a little bit last week with Amanda when she said people say take it offline. Let's not extend the meeting or the phone call with dumb questions. You have a question that's going to extend the meeting for everybody else. Everybody wants to go home or back to their work. Let's talk about it later. Don't. What about people who read out loud when they're texting or emailing someone? They're typing and they have to read out loud what they're texting or typing. Like they have to verbalize it. I don't get that either. Here's one that's silly, but it bothers me. When you make toast or an English muffin, if you dip the knife in the butter and you spread it on the English muffin, or toast. Toast is a big one. You get the crumbs on the knife with the butter, and then people dip it back in the butter. So when you go for the butter next time and it's dinner time, you got someone's toast crumbs in the butter. That bothers me really. Like, get those crumbs out of there, or find a way not to do that. What about people who you go out to dinner with and they have to customize the menu? Now, I know if you're gluten-free or if you're vegan, you want to tweak the menu a little bit. But there are people who go to restaurants and they have no really dietary restrictions, but they want to rewrite the menu. They ask them to hold this, put this on the side, cook this way. They reconfigure the whole menu. That's a very big pet peeve of mine. And this one I've talked about a bunch on the show. You know, when you go to like a restaurant, like a Panera, a fast food place, if you don't know what you want, folks, or you're unsure, take a step back, read the menu, get it together, and then go up to the cashier and decide, tell her what you want. It's these people who go up to the cashier. They have no idea. They're reading the menu board. They have no idea what they want. They're very confused. They don't know how the whole system works, that you got to choose the bread first, then the meat, and figure out the system, figure out what you want, then get online and be helped. Over-the-shoulder readers. I hated in school where you would be doing your work and the teacher would come over and look over your shoulder and point at things on your paper. I hate when I'm on the computer and someone looks over my shoulder and they're looking. Not that I'm hiding anything. I just hate the feeling of somebody over my shoulder. It's a pet peeve of mine. I don't like the over-the-shoulder lookers. What about these clamshell packages, folks? You buy something, and it's in that packaging that you couldn't blow this thing out with dynamite. You try to cut it, you try razor blades, you try cutters, you can't get this thing out of the clamshell packaging. And you try not to cut your fingers. It's just a pain. All these clamshell. I understand it's to protect the product and shipping and all that, and to hang on the peg in the store. But these clamshell packaging, folks, it drives you nuts. You want to, and especially if you buy something and you don't take it home, you're taking it to a place where you don't have a scissor or you don't have a tool. You basically need a tool or a saw to get in these clamshells. That's a big pet peeve. What about people who park out of the lines? How hard is it, folks? You passed your driver's test. You know, I'm on the road 30 years already. That's how old I am. I got my license at 16, 17. I'm on the road 30 years. I know how to park in the lines. And I used to get this in the parking lot because every space was worth money. So people that took up 2 spaces, we'd lose money on the other space. People would complain that there weren't any spaces left and that guy's in 2 spaces. How hard is it just to pull in 1 space? And you see it all the time. Larry David on Curb Your Enthusiasm, what does he call them? Pig parkers. What about parents who name their kids weird names? Like that woman we talked about at Christmas time that named her kid A, B, C, D, E, F, a G or something. I forget how you even pronounced it. Absidy. No, it was A, B, C, D, E. And it was Absidy. And they were making fun at the girl at the airport and the woman got offended. These dumb names. Someone told me that they came across someone named Jordache the other day. Like the jeans. I worked with a girl named Beautiful. Now, she was beautiful, but what if she turned out ugly? You know, when you're going to call her beautiful, it would have been like calling a heavyset guy slim. It would have been very awkward. So, folks, stick to the common names. What about you're at a restaurant, you order a nice appetizer that you look forward to, and then they take your meal order, and then the appetizer, you just taking a bite into the appetizer, and then your meal comes out, and then you can't really savor the appetizer. So you kind of have to strategize now. If you go to a restaurant where this frequently happens, you have to tell them you're just going to order your appetizer, and when you're done with that, you'll order the meal. I hate that when you want to enjoy the appetizer, and then your main course comes out right on top of it. It's annoying. What about when you order salad, folks, and the plates just came out of the dishwasher in the back, and they're hot in the restaurant, and then they put the cold salad. So by the time the salad gets to you, all the lettuce and all the trimmings from the salad are all warm. I don't like that. I don't like warm salad. Multiple remotes are a pet peeve. They're a way of life. You got one for the DVD player if you still have it, one for the DVR, one for the what do you call that? The sound bar. You have pain in the ass, all these remotes. One for the Fire Stick, one for the Direct TV. Well, it's a pain in the ass, all these remotes. I know they sell universal remotes, but I don't think they work for anything, and I haven't had one of those in years. What about when you're going clothes shopping and you need a nice shirt to go out? Your friends, you're going out to dinner and you want to buy a nice shirt. You go into Kohl's or Macy's and you finally go through all the racks and you find this great looking shirt. And you see a whole rack of them. You're like, yeah. And then you look and there's like 35 smalls, no medium, no large, and then, 3XL, 4XL, like a whole shitload of them. There's like either you have to be Twiggy or, Walter Hudson, the 1,000-pound man. There's no in between. So they have a whole rack of them, but either small, tiny, or oversized, and you miss out on that great shirt. What about loud commercials, folks? You're watching a TV show. Now, I know they passed a law years ago, but I don't think these companies ever did anything about it. You're watching the TV show and it's at a good, nice, good level, you get nice dialogue, Law and Order, whatever the hell you're watching. Then all of a sudden the commercial comes on. Come to Jim's car dealership this weekend where we have discount prices. Like, it wakes you out of bed sometimes, especially on the cable channels. That always happened. And it still happens. And I thought they passed a law a few years ago where they had to be the same level. Littering, I think that's a pet peeve for everybody. I cannot stand people who just throw shit out car windows and parking lots and put your shit in the proper thing. What about men who say, we're pregnant? No, you're not. She's pregnant. We're not pregnant. It's just little things like that. We're pregnant. No, you're not, dude. Your wife's pregnant. Yeah, we're pregnant. And speaking of pregnant, these gender reveals, we've talked about them. These over-the-top gender reveals annoy the shit out of me. It's an attention-seeking thing. It's nothing more, nothing less. These shooting out of a cannon, it turns blue, pink baseballs that explode. Yeah, come on, folks. They're a pet peeve. You go into a supermarket, middle of the day. Now, years ago, folks, I didn't work in a supermarket, but I worked in different types of stores. We did most of our stock at night, right before the store closed or very early in the morning when there was no traffic. You go into a store now in the middle of a Saturday, and they're packing out the shelves. They got these big, we call them U-boats back in the day. I don't know what they call, big dollies full of merchandise blocking off the aisles. It's like an obstacle course during the peak hours of shopping. Folks, at these stores, do your stocking at night or in low traffic times. I cannot stand having all this stock, you can't get it stuff, everything's in the way, you can't get it what you need because they're stocking the store in the middle of the day. Do it at night. Same with the road construction. Stick to nights on that too. What about people try to one-up you? Now, my mom is great at that. For years my mom lived, when I moved out on my own at 19, my mom lived a few towns over, and I would call her up and say, oh, we got like 8 inches of snow here. Oh, we got 3 feet. Like, she always had to one-up you. And she still does that. She always had to have it worse than you when it came to weather. Now, my brother lives a couple miles from her now. He'll call and say, oh, it's raining here. Oh, it's torrential here. It's flooding. Everything on her end has to be worse than what you're telling her. It can never just be like, okay, oh, that's good. I hope everything's okay by you. That's a lot of snow. It always has to be worse and catastrophic by her. The one-uppers, folks. Everybody knows a one-upper in their life. So those people are annoying and a pet peeve. Telemarketers, need I say more? My phone rings all day. They keep saying they're going to do something about it. Who likes telemark? Who buys shit from these people that keep these people in business and employed? I don't know. What about, this is a big one now, folks, with the distractions out there. The light turns green. It takes 20 seconds for the first car to move. What are you doing? You watching movies? You texting? What the hell are you doing? This hands-free thing was supposed to have helped. Nothing annoys me more that you've already sat 2 rounds of this light. The infrastructure, especially around here, they're building up everything. The roads can't handle the traffic, and you have these idiots at lights. They turn green, and they're doing whatever, playing crossword, whatever the hell they're doing on their phone. Light turns green, you go. You gun that thing. You get everybody through the intersection, but it doesn't seem to happen. Pet peeve. Here's one in sports, folks. Now, I'm a sports fan. I like hockey. I like baseball. I like football. These people who hit a home run and then point at the sky like God gave them the ability to hit the home run, or after they win, they point and thank God. But when the ball goes through this guy's legs and he loses the game, why don't they point at the sky? When they strike out, why don't they point to the sky? So God only intervenes, if you're a 300 hitter 3 times out of every 10. The other 7, he's having a sandwich and saying, how the hell with him. I mean, come on. It just drives me crazy. I'm not saying you can't believe what you want to believe in, folks, or I'm persecuting religions or anything. But why don't they point after they strike out with the bases loaded and lose the game? They only point when a good thing happens. Like, suddenly God's on the clock. His holy shit, Derek Jeter's up. Let me watch. Okay, let him get a hit. All right, he won the game. All right, he pointed at me. And then the next day he's like taking the day off and Jeter goes 0 for 4. I mean, come on. Give me a break. High five. Speaking of sports, yeah, back in the day, you gave someone a high five in the office. It was a cool thing. People that still want to give high fives, folks, you want to high five them in the face. Who's high fiving anymore? Your fist bump, I understand. Little things, a handshake. Who's high fiving anymore? But you still have idiots out there when something fun happens, they want to high five you. Or even at a sporting event, it's pretty common. Like I was at a Falcons game last year with Benji, believe it or not, and the people next to us, after the Falcons scored, they start putting their hand up like they wanted a high five, and I was like, I thought I was back in like '85. Who's high fiving anymore? That's a pet peeve. High fiving. Lateness, we went over. What about, folks? You're gonna barbecue, okay? You buy a pack of hot dogs or 2 packs of hot dogs, and then you buy the rolls. How come the amount of hot dogs in the packages never match the amount of rolls? There's always like 2 extra rolls or 2 extra hot dogs. Why don't they make the hot dogs match? I think there's 10 hot dogs in the pack and 8 buns. So you're always short 2 buns, or it's always, the math is never exact on hot dogs with hot dog buns. You're always over 2 hot dogs, under 2 buns. Something's always fucked up with the buns and the hot dogs. But get together, Nathan's, Hebrew National, Ballpark, get together with Wonder and all these companies, and let's even it out, okay? This has been going on too long now with these hot dog rolls. Door-to-door solicitors, need I say more? Who even answers the door anymore? To me, you're feeding the troll. If someone's knocking on doors in a vest trying to sell you shit, and you answer the door, you're feeding the troll. We have big signs in our subdivision, no soliciting. You could put giant signs under. These assholes still ring the bell. Some of them wave. They see your porch camera. They wave like they're being funny. I don't answer. My wife sometimes will answer. I'm like, why are you answering? I'll just tell them to take a hike. Just don't answer. Just, it's like you get quiet, lower the radio, you wait for them to leave, you watch them. Okay, they're gone. I never answer the door, ever. And these people in the neighborhood who open the door and converse with these people, you're feeding the trolls. They're going to come back. If everybody stopped answering the door, they'd go away. What else do we got here? Let's go back to sports. This just annoys the shit out of me, folks. Now, I've been watching the Yankees since 1980 was the first year I really understood baseball. Love them. But you get these people on Facebook that say, we need a new pitcher, or we did great last night, or all these injuries are killing us. Who's we? Who's us? You work at Walmart as a cashier. You're not part of the Yankee team. You're not the general manager. You don't work in the front office. You're a cashier at Walmart, and you're saying, we need a new pitcher. No, the Yankees need a new pitcher. They, not we. When people say we, like they're part of the team, I'm sorry, folks. Just because you have the jersey hanging in the closet, you're working at Walmart, you're not part of the Yankees or the Braves or the California or the Anaheim Angels or the Texas. It's not your team, folks. You're a fan. It's they. What about people who are still paying with checks at supermarkets? Now, in an age, everything's electronic. Everyone has a debit card. Even people who don't have bank accounts have a debit card. They get money, put direct deposit on these cards for people with bad credit. Everybody has some type of electronic payment card. What are you writing checks at the supermarket? I know some things you write a check if something comes to your house, you need to mail it. I get it. Once in a while we write a check. It happens. Yard work, special landscaping project. We give the guy a check. He cashes it in a day. But who's writing checks at the supermarket? You know who's writing them, folks? The person in front of me all the time, because I can't tell you how frequently this still happens. And you think it's some like 90-year-old lady. But there are younger people, in their 40s and 50s that are writing checks too. Keep the checkbook home. Bring your debit card and I cannot stand. Who do I make it out to? You're in Publix. Who do you make it out to? That's the thing. Who do I make it out to? Who do you think you make it out to? Where do you think you are? And they don't have it ready. It all filled out. They should have it. Pay the date, pay to Publix, sign it, put in the memo groceries, and then just fill in the amount when the woman says it's $48.12. You just fill in the amount, $48.12. Here you go. No, they got to start from scratch. After the woman rings it all up and they watch the woman bag the whole thing, now, who do I make it out to? And then they start right. And then it's another 10 minutes while they're, and I huff and I puff and I get annoyed and I don't care. We talked about this. Double dippers annoy the shit out of me. Pet peeve. You're at a party. They put out hummus. They put out onion dip. Whatever salsa and chips. Dip the chip. Eat it. Take a bite out of it. If there's still no salsa or dip left on it, you didn't dip good enough, eat the plain chip. Don't go back and dip with your filthy mouth on the thing into the dip, into the salsa. Coverage, get enough coverage on that chip where if you're going to need 2 bites out of it, you don't put the whole chip in your mouth, you're going to get coverage on that chip with whatever dip it is. Don't go back and dip that half-eaten chips. And another pet peeve are these tortilla chips that you buy, and they're not sturdy. You dip it in salsa, which is like liquid, and they break in the salsa, and they're not sturdy chips. Fragile chips are a pet peeve of mine, folks. So, no, really, with the double dipping, folks, that's disgusting. How would you like if Mary down the block, we came to your house, started dipping her mouth, chip and everything? Just take a dip. Make sure you get enough ranch, whatever the hell you're eating. Make sure you get a good coverage. Take a bite, and hopefully there's still some left. If not, you eat a half of the chip with no dip on it. It's not going to kill you. This annoys me. You think you have a great seat at a concert. Bruce Springsteen's in town, or, rest in peace, Tom Petty. I've seen him a bunch of times. Your favorite artist or a sporting event. You're so excited to get the tickets. You have great seats, and everybody likes the aisle seat, right? Because if you need something, you can run right into the aisle. But the aisle seat is also a curse because everybody that needs to get in and out of that row has got to squeeze by. And it's fine. They want to go to their seat, maybe get up once during the performance. They need to use the bathroom or get another beer. But it's those frequent up and down people. You always get them in your row that you have to get up 100 times during the show and see this fat lady's ass in your face instead of Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. You see this ass more times in a night than you saw Steve Van Zandt on a guitar solo. It's a pain in the ass, folks. Literally. You cannot... You get up a couple, you get up into your seat, fine, you have to pass. You have to maybe go to the bathroom once, maybe get a concession one time. 3 should be the limit. And then they should lock you in the fucking seat because it's annoying. All night long, the same 2 or 3 drunk women passing you to go wherever the hell they're going instead of watching the concert. And those people who talk during a rock concert, that's a whole show for that. People who park their shopping cart in the middle of the aisle, you're trying to get through, and they just leave it in the middle of the aisle where you can't pass in the other direction. They're looking at the taco shells or what. Another pet peeve. See, I got a lot of these, folks. We want to hear yours. The show's about pet peeves. What everyday occurrence annoys the shit out of you? It could be at the office, could be on the road, could be at the supermarket, could be at home. There's pet peeves at home, too. I'm going over a few of those. What about you need the cable company to come and install something, or your air conditioning, you need a service on your HVAC unit, and they give you this service window. It's not from, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. It's from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now you got an 8-hour window. You have no fucking idea when these people come, and you can't plan out your day, and then they show up at 10 to 4. You waited all day for them. You modified your whole schedule. You sit and looking out the window every 10 minutes. And then they just show up 10 minutes before the 8-hour window is over. That's annoying, folks. That's a pet peeve. Like you don't have anything else to do all day. Like you're just going to sit and wait for these people. What about you have a nice hoodie, right, with the string? You tighten the hood, or your sweatpants, like, you like the athletic pants, Adidas or whatever, Puma, and they have the string on it, the drawstring. What about when that drawstring goes inside the belt line, where you can't pull one side, it's just one side hanging out? Then you got to get like a safety pin, or you need like a coal miner's hat with a pair of tweezers to try to get that string out of the hoodie to get it even on both sides. That's a pet peeve of mine, those strings. Even when you tie the knot, sometimes for some reason you'll lose that side of the string. That's an annoyance. What about you're on a train or you're on an elevator and you want to get off? Now, the etiquette, folks, is if you're trying to get on the train or on the elevator, you wait for the people to get off at that door. Once they're up, then you get on. What about these people? The door opens up to the elevator. You're not even off yet, and they're trying to get on. Let the people off. Let the people off the train, and then you get on. That's a big pet peeve of mine. I don't know. I don't understand where all these etiquette things went out the window years ago. Talked about this last night on the way to dinner. Apostrophe abuse, folks. Now, apostrophe, when you use an apostrophe in a word, it is to show possession. Charlie's ice cream cone. You put an apostrophe between the E and the S. It's showing possession. It's not to show plural. I love cookies. COOKIE apostrophe S. No. It's cookies plural. It's more than one cookie. There's no apostrophe. The cookie's not owning anything. And people just use these apostrophes to show something as plural when it should show possession of something. The apostrophe abuse is rampant out there. You see these restaurant boards they put out. Enjoy our stuffed shells tonight. SHELL apostrophe S. What is the shell owning? It's apostrophe abuse, folks. I can't take apostrophe abuse. Garbage bag windows on cars. It shouldn't bother me because it's not on my car, but it's a pet peeve. People driving around with a black garbage bag flopping in the breeze. Now, I understand if the window just broke and you have an appointment tomorrow to get it fixed. Me, I would park the car in the garage and only drive it to the place when I'm not driving around for a month with a Glad bag. That's my window. These people drive for, they use, duct tape for taillights. They use like the cellophane from the Easter basket as the red cellophane for their taillight that's broken. Just get it fixed. Yeah, I know money's tight for some people. I'm not judgmental. We've all been there where a repair comes up that we don't have money for. But don't you have insurance on the car? How much is a little back window? Really? You don't have I know there's a deductible and all, but I don't know. And especially sometimes they're not even beat up cars. They're like pretty new, decent looking cars. And they're driving around it just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know why. And again, on the road, and it doesn't happen here in the South because it doesn't snow significantly, but you people up north know this. You get 10 inches of snow, right? And the people wipe their whole car off, the windows, the hood, the trunk, the sides, and then they leave that 10-inch pile of snow on top of the roof and then just go driving. And it's like just pile high, and then it just blows off onto other cars. Sheets of ice come off the thing. Folks, how hard is it just to brush the top of the roof of the car off? You see it all the time. I have pictures from when I lived in New York, 2 feet of snow on top of the car, they're driving it. You don't want to tractor trailer where you can't get to the top, although they should be doing it too because sheets of ice come off, they break windows. But if you have a regular SUV or sedan, wipe the freaking snow off the top of the car, folks. It's not that hard. So that's a pet peeve. And a couple more. They say being copied by someone is the greatest form of flattery. But it bothers me. I hate people who copy. Now, when I ran a DJ business, I had a website. I would put ads on different websites, classified sites. People would copy and paste stuff off my website and use it in their own ads, and I would have to basically call threatening them that I'm going to get a lawyer. Now, I know it wasn't copyrighted material per se, but come up with your own ideas. It would happen all the time. I would find ads from local DJ companies, just copying and pasting my website or my ads and putting it as their own. I don't like when neighbors, when you get like a yard ornament or a Christmas thing, they run out and they have to buy the same thing. I worked for a woman years ago. Everything I did, she copied. I told her about this key lime cake that I found at a barbecue place that made these great desserts. Ran out that night. Every client that she took out, she bought this key lime cake for. Okay. Bought this guy a Beer of the Month Club set or something like that for his birthday. Where'd you get that? Told her, ran out, got all these different clients, this Beer of the Month Club. I bought this bridge for my backyard that goes over this creek bed that we have. She came over and saw that, ran out and got where'd you get the bridge? Ran out and got the bridge for our yard. Just copied everything we did. And the first time you're like, all right, it's flattering, or somebody really likes something, you're going to tell them. But when people copy every single thing you do, it's annoying. So I don't find it flattering. I find it annoying. It's a pet peeve. And the last two, what about when we're live here at the Atlanta Hawks game and they interview some random person, and what do? They go, woo! That woo bothers me for everything. When a good song comes on the radio, somebody's got to yell, woo! That woo bothers me. It's just annoying, especially these young, drunk college girls. They interview them at sporting events and all. They say something like, Bulldogs are going to win. Woo! I hate that woo. Cut the woo out. The woo is old. And the last thing we experienced last night at dinner also, we were in the city of Atlanta. Now, I know when the crosswalk says walk, the pedestrian has the right of way. But if you see a line of cars waiting and you're the only pedestrian in that crosswalk, at least make an effort to get through that crosswalk quickly, or just pretend. These people that just stroll in the crosswalk, you got a line of traffic waiting, the light's going to turn and you're going to have to sit through another round, and they have no sense of urgency. They just casually stroll through the crosswalk. looking at their phone, talking on their... When I'm coming through a crosswalk and I see a car waiting to turn, I step it up a little bit. I point, I put my hand up at the car and say, all right, I got you, and I get through the intersection. Some people don't care. They just don't care. So that was my list of pet peeves, folks. I know it's a lot more than the 12 most common, but we want to hear yours. What can you think of that you pretty much face every day at the office, at home, wherever, that just rubs you the wrong way, that you know you're going to deal with when you get up in the morning? So that's what we want to hear. So, folks, for you new listeners, again, 6,200 tuned in last week. It continues to grow by 100 or 2, sometimes more every week, so I can't thank you enough. For those who are new, our Mutant of the Week poll goes up on Tuesday and ends on Saturday. And this week we have the coffee craving klepto, the woman who took the Walmart scooter out for a quick cup of coffee at the Waffle House and got pulled over on a highway. And the chippy choking chap, the gentleman, or can we call him a gentleman? The mutant who choked the cashier at the supermarket for putting potato chips and canned goods in the same bag. So voting begins on Tuesday, ends on Saturday, and let's get that voting up. And thank you to all you loyal voters who head to the polls every week. Again, one vote victory. So if you're new, that's where you go. Facebook page, A Bunch of Malarkey, like the page, and make sure you vote. For those of you who are new also, where are we found? We say it every week, but we're going to say it again. We're found on iTunes. We're found on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Radio Public, CastBox, YouTube, and now on Stitcher. So those are the places you can find us. And again, a special thanks to Benji, who was on the show a couple weeks ago, for... I guess you'd call it a nice gift of having Scott Shannon, our legendary radio personality, record that introduction. So that's going to be our new introduction with Mr. Scott Shannon. So thank you very much for that, to Benji and to Scott Shannon for taking the time out to do that for our little show here. So, folks, as I always say, and whether it be on your wife's birthday, which it is today, happy birthday once again, whether it be out in public with all these pet peeves, you're always going to be annoyed, folks. And what do you have to do when you're out there? You have to beware, because it's a shit show out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been A Bunch of Malarkey. Take care, everybody. Have a great week.